Grand Rising, True Brit, Make Albion Great Again, MAGA. Okay, right. Orthodox Christmas was on the 6th of January. That's the Orthodox when they're doing this. That's anyway, wherever those are, they are. So I want to talk about today GB News. It's not I want to talk about GB News. So this is True Brit News. That's right. Okay. Make MAGA, make Albion great again. Okay. So I want to talk about GB News. Who for the last couple of days in this post also, I just want to say that although I'm going to be talking about GB News, I also want to talk. That's going to lead into some other bits and pieces that are very relevant. Other bits and pieces into this immigration, grooming gangs, child protection, women, abuse of women and children, and and then I want to mention Elon. So it's going to get a bit political. Elon. All right. So let me start. GB News, it seems, doesn't know what to do with Elon. You know, because they're all when there was chatter about Elon giving some money to Nigel Farage and the Reform Party. So they was like rubbing their hands like that. And the Tories are all like kind of jealous because then nobody wants to give them any money. And then I don't know. The next time I right. So GB News then in reporting on Elon and what it is doing in terms of like supporting Farage, and they were kind of vitriolic and sort of saying yes, this sort of fits with their ideology as a news station, I suppose, and because what the ideology that they seem to have is one that what does it do? It's one of the channels, and I have to say that the BBC this morning is using very very similar language, but they were the first channel to talk about Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs. And sometimes they interchange the grooming with rape. So I might not be able to use this, which is another issue as well to do with Elon, insofar as I think it's Jeff Bezos. I think it's Jeff Bezos or someone along those lines. Meta, whoever owns Meta, is sort of saying, okay, we're not doing that stuff we've been doing for 5 years. We're not doing that anymore in terms of censoring people, blocking people's shit. Then I'm going to say of Facebook, censoring people, blocking people, and cancelling people on their platform. Yeah, based upon the fact checkers that they were using to fact check my stuff. I'm going to talk about me and my stuff. Yeah, right. And I think that's Facebook and Instagram. Is not doing that. I'm intermixing a little bit because it's all interconnected. So that's around free speech, right? So now, going back to GB News has been talking about free speech, and so it's upset that Tommy Robinson's been banged up because they saying that he's been banged up because it's an infringement on free speech, to speak about those things that are difficult to talk about. Again, going back to this Pakistani men up in Rotherham, Oldham, apparently Derby, basically all over the shop, right? Pakistani Muslim men, Pakistani Muslim gang raping, something. There's a whole range of words that GB News keeps using, and it's been told off for it. But it's still doing it. Its focus seems to be on immigration as being the reason why there are all these Pakistani men grooming white girls, right? That's the big thing. I've got to say something about that in a minute. It's fascinating. Pakistani Muslim men raping and grooming white girls, and they keep fluctuating. Sometimes it's majority Pakistani Muslim. There's another word in there that they use. It's quite clearly identifying a group of people. I'm not saying I have a problem with it, but it's just interesting. But then they have to keep changing it when more information comes out. You see, so I'm just going to dwell on here, right? So the latest thing, there was a young man, a boy, not a young man, he's a boy, 14 years of age. I think he's of African descent by the looks of his name, who was stabbed, right? Then I don't want to talk about that, right? But going back to GB News again, there's been lots of talk about these grooming gangs, these Pakistani Muslim men. The first thing to say about that, actually, the emphasis is that they keep missing some of the obvious things, that these Pakistani Muslim men, or the majority, primarily Pakistani Muslim men that are grooming and raping white girls, right? That they keep changing the language when more information comes out. So, and not making the links and connections that are quite obvious, because whilst this notion of grooming and raping young white girls, people are overlooking the Archbishop of Canterbury and the alleged person that's going to be coming in after him, because he's resigned, for exactly the same thing. Yeah, right. Before I go over there, but let's come back to because it's now comes out now that wanting an investigation for this thing that's been highlighted, but now they have to back up a little bit, because these Pakistani Muslim men primarily couldn't have done what it is that they did to these white girls without police, social services, solicitors, everybody knowing about it. It's a little bit like I was watching the boats coming in from over the channel. So there's a bloke on the GB News reporter, and other reporters as well seem to have the same footage. They're all saying they're there, the reporter's there with his cameraman, might be doing it himself, don't know. They're on the beach taking a picture of this boat with all these people on it, right? And they're jumping out the boat and they're coming. And I'm thinking to myself, if the reporter and the cameraman's there, why haven't they at least, and where are RNLI, Border Patrol, the police, ambulances, fire brigade, all there at the same time? Or something's happening where they get the front of the boat, tie some string on it, because we've got supposed to have the best navy in the world. I know we haven't, but like allegedly, we're smart, clever. Put a bit of string on the front of the boat, tie it to the back of another boat, you can take it around and take it back. It's not rocket science. So what it highlights is that there has to be some duplicity and complicity in all these people coming over here, these immigrants, right? These foreigners, whatever you want to call them, that are coming here, getting benefits, getting places to live, getting jobs, getting the right kind of visas and stuff like that. They're able to access all the resources that the native-born people of this country can't get, right? People are recognising, yes, GB News recognises that they can't get this stuff, but they're always blaming the immigrants. And now they're saying that these same said immigrants have been coming here forever, right? It seems that's what they say, right? And now we've got these gangs that go around raping white girls, right? Then, right, so there's that, which makes no sense, because it's going to expose how Pakistani men, any men actually, can do that level of abuse to children. Yeah, it's going to expose all of that. Local authorities, as I say, social workers, residential social workers, healthcare workers, the police, they all know about this, and they've known about it. It seems because that all the investigations and inquiries that they've had, and not they've has highlighted all this stuff years ago, and also it. I forgot to say, alongside the police, lawyers, solicitors, social care providers, healthcare providers, all knowing what's been going on for years, is that politicians also known about this for years. And some of them, it seems, are implicated. So everybody's like kind of like backtracking, sidestepping, trying to you know what I mean? Giving it the big one, trying to keep forcing the narrative about these Pakistani. But what about all these waspy men? Not waspy, wasp men. What I'm going to call white Anglo-Saxon paedophiles or white Anglo-Saxon predators that have been doing this forever, like the Archbishop of Canterbury and all his crew, like the royal, certain members of the royal family. I'm not saying they're into the gang stuff. We don't know, do we? But you know, you could argue that Eyes Wide Shut is a gang thing going on here. There was a film with Jodie Foster. I didn't watch because the beginning of it was just horrific when I watched it. But like, she's playing pool or something like that, and she gets raped by this group of men in the bar that she's in while she's playing pinball. Right? So, and there's loads of films like that. Actually, it's in the zeitgeist. Gang, you know what I mean? So they're trying to make out it's something that is outside of the culture of Britain, you know, and that these Pakistani men, some of them were born here, have brought this into this. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. You've been doing it for fucking centuries. What do you think the Salem witch hunts were about? What do you think what's that thing called? Not the council. The thing. It'll come to me, but it's in the medieval age, in the Dark Ages, I think it was. What was it called? The Reformation. What do you think the Renaissance was all about? In order to get the Renaissance, they had to wipe out mainly women, actually, but the way that they wiped them out. Anyway, I'm not talking about that. It's in the history of this country. WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon paedophiles, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, white Anglo-Saxon predators. So you can, and now, as I keep speaking, it keeps the nonsense that GB News sometimes it gives you half truths. It doesn't even give you half truths. It gives you information that 2 minutes later just falls apart. So they're saying it's all with Pakistan, and now that 14-year-old boy in London, it turns out what I heard on Sky News, I think it was today. That he was an ex. Oh, no, he's still in care. And this is going to be terrible if I'm right about this, actually. But what was said is that he's been in care and he was being fucking groomed, right? He's my colour, a little bit lighter than me. He's not Caribbean, I don't think. I think he's got I don't know, Ghanaian name, first and surname. But I could be wrong about that. But he was in care and he was being groomed. Now, who was he being groomed by? That's what we want to know. So that's what I'm saying. So the idea that it's just about white girls, you know what I mean, and it's just Pakistani Muslim men, is not true. You know what I mean? They're just pushing a particular perspective, trying to, and for me, it avoids looking at. I'm at 14 minutes. I'm going to leave it there, you know, because I want to keep it short and sweet. Trying to hide the filth and the nastiness of WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, English, whatever you want to call yourself. You've been doing this shit forever. But you know, you're looking for an opportunity to go and blame somebody else. So you can hide behind the skirts, hide underneath the skirt. Can I finish this? Hide behind the deceit and the lies and the harm, injury, and loss that the WASP world has put upon the whole world. Yeah, I've said it. You know what I mean? And I'm saying I can't be bothered with, you know what I mean? I can't be bothered because it's all fucking falling apart. And you can see that it's all falling apart, and you just don't want to admit that you've been wrong'uns. You know, and when I say you, do I include myself in it? No, I don't. No, I don't, because I've been telling you for the last 3 or 4 years. I've been asking questions for the last 5 years, actually, and before. Asking questions. You've been telling me stuff. You've been denying to my face things that I've told you. You've told me that I'm going to need to wait for you to decolonize. Decolonize, all that means is to change your fucking attitude from this nihilistic, xenophobic, um, Khazarian, mafia, Kabbalistic, money magic, sex magic, blood magic, rituals that you continually performing forever and a day. And now people around the globe are saying, we're sick of your shit. You need to fucking pack it in. And the only reason why you're complaining about it is because you are feeling something that you've never felt before. You are now having to feel that which has befallen, that has been, you've been culpable and complicit in ideologies that are about diminishing the life of an othering of melanated peoples. I'm going to say dark-skinned melanated people. Yeah, people like me. Yeah, for whatever reason, I do not know, but that's the case, right? I'm going to give 2 more minutes. And also to put in place a series of information or history or science or whatever that allows for the normalization of the brutalization and no, I'll take that back, that normalizes and sanctifies eugenics ideologies and genocidal operations, yeah, killing people. I'm going to leave it there. Till the next time, may your ERP, and you can sort of see this being played out, just to finish it off, bring it up to date in terms of it being news. And I believe that that's why, well, it's not my case of belief. Look at some of the fundamentals. BRICS, Indonesia joined it yesterday, the BRICS nations. Doing okay, thank you very much. The Iraqi dinar has revalued on the Forex. You've got Macron, is it Macron? Trudeau in Canada resigning. Germans have got elections. The French economy is in the toilet. Georgia and Croatia, I think it is, are not having any, don't want to be part of Europe anymore. It's crumbling. You've got Donald, who's just making some suggestions, also saying what it is that he wants to do, and his mates are all out there. So I've got my down on there to talk about Elon, and I have been talking about Elon because Elon's like sort of saying he's called out the king and said that you need to dissolve parliament because he's the head of it. The government is doing his bidding. So this is what I mean. We shouldn't necessarily be looking at these immigrants. Actually, you can look at these immigrants, but let's have a look at these immigrants here. These immigrants, these belligerent occupiers that call themselves the royal family, changed their name to Windsors. They're immigrants. And they've been taking money, and they work for somebody else as well. I'm leaving that out, but it's quite clear what it is. They've been telling you what it is that they've been doing. £45 million wage rise for what? Once people are starving, what kind of malevolent king or what do you call them, royal that we're following here? And I think I'm not following because not my king, never was. You know, I know him as an imposter. A belligerent occupier, him and all his goons and family. He's head of the English or the Anglican Church, and the head of his main man that's running that church, and all the denominations that come under that church is all right with abusing children and the people that work for him, that he has jurisdiction over, to abuse children and women and anybody else that gets in their way, that interferes with their eugenics thinking, which is about depopulation. Anyway, we could go on. We could go on. 20 minutes, I think that's great. 20 minutes, 9 seconds. Till the next time, may your ERP and your spirituality remain strong.